Yay! Hello, everybody. Welcome back. It's Tarot Tuesday, Tarot Reviews Day, and I'm back with another deck from my enormous collection to share with you. And it's a really interesting deck, a very, very cool deck. So today I am sharing the Faeries Oracle, written by Jessica Macbeth and illustrated by the illustrious Brian Froud. So for those of you who, and I don't know who is on my friends list that doesn't know about Brian Froud, but for those of you who don't know about Brian Froud, he was like basically Jim Henson's right-hand man. So he's an artist, illustrator, and he and his wife Wendy, they're a big deal in the puppet community, big deal in the like fairy community. Yeah, he is the illustrator of this deck. And like, so really like for me, like Jim Henson, I think is the gold standard of my aesthetic. I've always been kind of striving for part Jim Henson, part Helena Bonham Carter. Like these are the style icons I grew up with. And when I lived in New York, I was quite close to the Museum of the Moving Image, which has a huge, basically Jim Henson, he used to film in a television studio there. And so he left about 5,000 pieces from his collection to that museum. And so when you see all that Jim Henson stuff on display that travels around, it's owned by that museum. Which is really cool. And so I would go and I would study the puppets and the costumes there like as artwork, because just for me, like the layers, the textures, the weird like garbage can glamour was just everything to me. Like it was so inspiring for me, not only as a little kid, but just even as an adult. Like my art has definitely leaned towards the fantastic, the otherworldly. And so, of course, when I saw this deck at Namaste Books, you know, Brian Froud, just put those two words on something and I'm gonna, like, I'm gonna buy it, especially if it's an Oracle deck. Jessica Macbeth's writing is really very fun, very clever. It's a really interesting deck. So here's what's cool. So I bought this deck for myself at Namaste Books. And then I think maybe 2 Christmases later, my best friend Nikia bought me the same deck. So we traded and I gave her mine and then I took hers. So this is the one that she gave me. And I just, the artwork, it's incredible. It's so richly detailed. It's so evocative. There's a lot of variety. It ranges from the immaterial to the ethereal to the solidly earthy and gnarly and knobbly. There's so much what Vasari calls veritas. There's a lot of variety in this deck, which I absolutely love. There's whimsical, there's play, there's strong, powerful, like ethereality. There is like mischief and mystery and some tricksiness. Like there's so much interesting stuff. You could just look and look and look and look at this deck, but just beautiful mark making, beautiful light on this one. Just really honestly incredible artwork. Some of it's drawing, some of it I think is colored pencil, some of it I think is watercolor. Just a lot of interest, a lot of variety, a lot of texture, and just very evocative, a lot of storytelling with this deck, because this is basically how the author intended this deck. She says this is not like a deck where you have, we're working with archetypes or intellectual concepts. This deck is supposed to be a direct portal to the world of fairy, to the world of the fae. And I really love that notion. I think it's absolutely gorgeous, that because a lot of people, and I think I've discussed this before, would look at images as portals, that you're basically the image makes your world contiguous to another world, which I think is really, really cool. Hey, Tia, what's going on? And Brian Froud is 100% the person who can create a portal to the Fae for us, in my opinion. And so this deck is something that I like to use personally. I don't think I've ever used this in a reading for a client before. This is something that I like to use for personal study when I want to make contact with literally the fairies, right? Which can be very tricksy in and of itself. Because fairies are not always benevolent. They're not all ethereal. They're not, like, some of them can be malicious, and so they can be difficult to work with because they kind of get a kick out of messing with humans sometimes. So it's all about really creating a relationship, and it's all about really you having the authority and the discernment to say, like, this is who I want to work with. This is the energy that I want to work with. Like, I bless this deck with a specific quality of light, with a specific intentionality of working with benevolent fairies, with a specific intentionality of assistance, right? And so this is something that, like, because they're portals, using them as altar cards, like, again, with authority and discernment. So, but for Nakia and I, we are big, huge Jim Henson freaks. Labyrinth is a huge, like, thread in the fabric of our relationship. And so a Faerie Oracle by Brian Froud is 100% something that, like, it's just like in our wheelhouse, right? Look at this guy. Like, look at how much character he has, right? Like, this is where you really get this sense that, like, you are connecting with something else, right? In a very, very measurable way. Like, he has so much character. He's so cool. Yeah, so here we go. Why don't we go ahead and give the old deck a big shuffle-roo. So yeah, if you're into fairy culture, if you're into Brian Froud, but yeah, if you are into working with the fairies, this deck is indispensable. If everything that I've said to you sounds like gobbledygook and you think that I'm a crazy person for thinking that these are portals into something real, you know, maybe pass on this one, because you might you might fall in line with some of those tricksy fairies that are going to maybe teach you the hard way to show the realm of the Fae a little bit of respect. So let's give her a little shuffle-roo and see what our collective message for this week is. I'm very excited to see what we get. I've never used this for other people before. It's a weird deck to work with, but all right, let's see here. Ooh, we have number 3, the Guardian at the Gate. This is one of those sort of non-materialized fairies. So I think we're going to get a really interesting message here. So let's see, who is number 3? Let's point to that. There we go, 4-3. The Guardian at the Gate. Passages to new life, openings, gatekeepings. The principal task of the Guardian at the Gate is to facilitate a passage from one realm to another and to block the passage of that which is not ready to pass. The realms may be Earth, Fairy, the cosmos of the singers, or unity. They can also be considered as levels of reality or states of consciousness. In one state of consciousness, we are in an ordinary world. In another, we are in fairy or unity. Our bodies don't move, but our minds do. This is super important. The Guardian at the Gate of Unity facilitates the passage of the song into the hearts of the singers and aids the passages of humans and fairies into unity to be filled by that song when it is their time. We cannot make the mystical experience happen to us. We can only open our hearts wider and wider until we are ready, unusually only momentarily to receive it, or usually only momentarily to receive it. The guardian at the gate recognizes our readiness. Ooh. Along this line, one man in the Oracle online group notes, we see the energy gathering into the starry gate or streaming out of it in the picture, but we cannot tell what is happening on the other side of the gate. This is suggestive of how these gates and our passages through them can be. So let me tell you what I'm getting here. And if you are one of those people who thinks that I'm crazy and talking a bunch of gobbledygook, just scroll. Have a nice day. So this is a collective message, right? So take it how you will, but I'm just going to tell you what I'm getting and I'm not going to judge it, right? We hear people talking about a new earth. We hear people talking about like activating 5D consciousness. We hear a lot of people in the woo community talking about like transcending, right? Through these gates. And then, but we look around us and we're like, I still see the muck. I still see suffering. I still see a bunch of really awful stuff happening. So I don't know, like this is either BS or I got stuck in the bad place, right? What this card highlights to us is that our bodies don't move, but our minds and our consciousness can. When we go to this gate, perhaps in dreams, perhaps in meditation, like if, you know, we're sitting, like when I sit with the Akashic Records in the mornings, or like if you're going out in a walk in the forest and you're like, oh my God, this is so beautiful, right? Your consciousness, your spirit can be transported to other places while you are still here, right? There's this guardian. And what this guardian does is it brings forward the things that are ready. And things that are not ready yet, they get left behind. What I mean to say here is that the guardian of the gate can be those times in our life where what is third dimensional about us and our experience is being honed away. We're being asked for us to leave it behind. And that can happen sometimes through trial. Remember, this is a collective reading. That can happen sometimes through trial. That can happen sometimes through the flame, right? When we reach those crossroads in our life, the guardian of the gate is someone who sort of presides over that crossroads to encourage you to leave behind what isn't serving. And that separation can be painful or it can be exhausting. The physical process of expansion can leave you tired. It can leave you impatient. It can leave you wondering if you have gone crazy. It really can. But as you move forward through the gates, you're bringing a consciousness, a point of view into the world with you that really changes things. As you expand, things that bother you no longer bother you. Things that felt urgent no longer feel urgent. Things that feel like I have to take care of this now are now like, this is part of a larger plan and I can do my part. And you can sit with that and be a little bit more patient with that. So right now, if you are at a crossroads of your life, understand that this little spirit fellow is here to help you. But that help can feel painful, it can feel exhausting, and it can make you wondering if you're losing your marbles. And I don't even think that was real, make you wondering. But anyway, What I mean to say here is that maybe what's happening is a falling away. And if you choose to leave these things behind and move forward, you're going to be looking at life through a different filter. What if that is what is meant by New Earth? What if that is what is meant by 5D? That we're all still here in the same place existing, but there are those people who are just assembling a different version of it, a different reality around them, because they are viewing the same physical place from a different lens, a different consciousness. And you are entirely capable of that. It doesn't mean you're leaving anybody behind. Perhaps it might mean that you are better equipped to do the work that you came to do to help everybody else up into that new earth, fifth dimensional consciousness, what have you. Right? Hey, Candida, I love you, baby. So what if that is what is meant? So the guardian of the gate might be the spirit that is here to help you, the spirit guide that's here to help you, the fairy guide that's here to help you with that separating out the wheat from the chaff in your life, right? Understand that you are never alone. The thing about this artwork is that this particular fairy guide is immaterial. It is not always something, our guides and helpers aren't somebody that we see with conscious eyes, right? What if there is an army, legions of help around you? Legions of help around you if we can be still and quiet enough to feel them inside of ourselves, right? You're not alone. In fact, you may be part of a legion of wonderful souls here to help usher in a beautiful way of living, a beautiful future, a beautiful paradigm. What if, right? What if you are? Just start asking yourself that question. What if? What if I am here to help usher in something beautiful, something new, something wonderful, something more just, something more healed? What if? Just ask yourself that question. That might be something to help you get through these gates. All right? All of my best, greatest, and deepest love to you. Thank you all so, so, so much for joining me for another Tarot Tuesday. All of my beautiful and best love to you. Have a great week. Bye.